All right, today we are installing fender liners for the rear. So these cars don't come with fender liners for the rear from factory. And a lot of people that lower their cars, run coilover setups, aggressive fitment and whatnot, end up having to delete the rear tab. That means these bumpers can come off at speed. There's a couple of ways, including zip ties and some other stuff, to keep that from happening. But hopefully these guys will hold the bumper in place, maybe keep some of all this stuff that comes out of here from getting the back of the car so dirty, and maybe even increase MPG a little bit. The kit consists of 2 fender liners that are 3D printed, hardware. The liners have provisions for that hardware and reuse one of the factory holes in the chassis. And they come from Mr. Anthony right here. I'll get his social media, put it right here so you guys can get some if you'd like. So let's get this going and get the install underway. Step number 1 is jack up your car. Step 2 is going to be to take the wheels off. For installation, other than the tool to get your wheels off, you're going to need a 10mm wrench and a screwdriver of some sort. I like power tools, so I use a gun, but you could do this by hand. You don't need to be using power tools to do it. The first thing you want to do is come in here and take off the 2 screws for the rear lip. So let's go ahead and get that done. Then I'm also want to clean this up a little bit, just so that I don't have a bunch of stuff going behind the screw when I go to put the new piece on. Like so. Then I'm going to grab the new component, and it's going to slot in front of this guy. Like that, and I'm going to hold it in place with the included hardware. The hardware comes with a nut, 2 washers, and a screw. So we'll put the screw and 1 washer in front. Like so. Put 1 washer behind. And the nut on the other side. I'm going to snug it up a little bit just so that it kind of holds in place a little bit better, but I still want this to have some play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the screw that goes right here. I'm going to get it started. But I'm going to make sure it doesn't come all the way through. And I'm going to grab behind and hold some pressure to it. And back it back out. Make sure it's all the way in. And same thing with the top hole. Now that that's nice and tight on here, we want to make sure that this one's all the way tight. So grab the 10 mil on the back side and tighten this up. Now be careful because you're going into plastic. So you don't have to go too hard. You don't want to break it. And there we have it. The final product all installed. I went ahead and did the same thing on the other side already. Next up, we're putting wheels back on. I'm going to do it with an impact, but I'm going to do it on the 2 setting, which I know is roughly 80 foot-pounds, so that I'm not over-torquing the lug nuts, and I can go back through with the torque wrench afterwards. And I'm starting them by hand. I don't ever start them with the impact. I want to make sure that they're threaded in properly and not cross-threading before the ugga-duggas come to play. And that's it. Next, we're going to lower the car and make sure everything's torqued according to manufacturer specs. They say it should be, I think, 85 for aluminum, which these wheels are. And if you have steel wheels, I think it's 100. I always go 100 just because I like to go a little bit over, and it's just a nice round number. And since I track the car and drive it hard, going a little bit over is not a problem. I've never had an issue. I do run ARP studs and steel lug nuts, which do help. I really strongly recommend using steel lug nuts. The aluminum ones tend to not be good. So if you're doing any kind of spirited driving, track use, anything like that, steel lug nuts are a must. I like the Muteki SR48s, but anything steel should be good. Torque. And there we have it. The spats are installed. You can see them right in there, maybe, if I can get the lighting right. They don't come in contact with the wheel or nowhere close. The bumper is a decent bit more secure now. So let's take it for a drive, see how they do. All right, we're gonna try to take some footage here. It's like 3 p.m. on a Saturday. The roads are a little bit busy. I know I've never done any kind of sound clips with the car, at least not on the channel. I've posted some little clips here or there on Instagram. I don't really know how the audio is going to be. I'm wearing a chest mount, which honestly feels like wearing a training bra. And I don't know if the seatbelt's going to be rubbing on it, making weird noise. If it is, I apologize ahead of time. But I figured to take you along for a little bit of a drive. There's a bunch of glare, so I didn't really want to do an out of the windshield shot. So you get to see these, catch these hands. Yeah, so after the next light, I'm going to downshift a little bit, give you guys a little bit of a sound clip of what this thing sounds like. It actually sounds really good coming down the revs, downshifting from third to second. Has like the slightest little crackle. I'm not a fan of like the direct injection crackle pop tune craze that's been taking over the world lately, but this thing does sound pretty good. The exhaust setup is a long tube header from Unequal Fabrication. It's got a Megan Racing mid pipe and a Tanabe Medallion axle back. It's, for me, the perfect amount of noise while still not being super drony on the highway, and the header actually did a lot for that, and power. I'll be going over all of this in a separate video, going over the car, but let's downshift here. I don't know if you could hear the little crackle going into second. Flash Pro has done wonders for this little car. I think that if you're looking for any kind of gain as far as power, response, the throttle control is insane. Flash Pro is the mod to do. So I'm going to take a little bit of a drive, try to get some road grime kicked up, see how these little liners do and what they pick up. I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. All right, we just got back from a little drive. You might be able to hear the car kind of crackling as it's cooling down in the background. Liners did their job. You can see in there, let me see if I can get the lighting correct, that they've picked up a bunch of dirt and stuff, keeping it from being flung everywhere. I'm going to be doing some long-term testing after I clean this thing because it's absolutely filthy. I don't know if you'll be able to see how disgusting this thing is. This might be a little bit better way of showing you here. Yep, it's gross. To see how much, because I always noticed a lot of dirt would come off and get this whole area really dirty. So I'm curious, after doing a wash, how well this will be as far as keeping the car clean, because I think there might be a big improvement in that. And then I'm also going to be doing some long-term testing on MPGs on this car. So currently I get anywhere between 28 to 30. Depends on how much highway driving I'm doing, which is normally not a whole lot. I do live in an area where there's a lot of like 50 mile an hour speed limits that I'm usually on. But I want to see if these improve MPG at all. So be on the lookout for that. That will probably be something that I post about on Instagram. Maybe I'll upload it as a short on YouTube. We'll see. But yeah, I think it'd be money well spent if you wanted one of these kits for the rear liners for your Fit. And thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one where we do a full walk around of this car and show you what is worth and is not worth your time and money if you have a first gen Honda Fit.